If you would like to know how Beethoven played Bach, I have some good news and I have some bad news for you. The good news is we are very well informed, at least regarding the speed he played those works in. But the bad news is you'll have to choose between two versions. Let's find out with the first invention by Bach. I've made a recording of the inventions about 1 year ago, and it's this one. I give you now two fragments of which you have to choose from, and they're of course digitally adjusted. We don't have footage by Beethoven himself. And then I come back to you with some extra thoughts. So I hope this was not too much of a shock to you, and explain what I have done. So the speed indications are taken from Czerny's edition. First print, I'll explain you in a minute why that's important. And I just of course digitally adjusted the speeds. So Czerny gives for the invention number 1, quarter note 138. In later editions that is changed to 120, as many of Czerny's metronome numbers for the Bach editions are lowered without actually mentioning the fact that they are lowered. So the first digitally manipulated recording was that tempo given in the metrical notation system as we've talked about in the interview with Lorenz Gradient. I'll put a link in the video here. The second one is the version as literally we would read the metronome mark today. And in the preface of the Wohltemperiertes Klavier, and I don't know if that's the case also in this preface of the invention, so I have to be honest with that, but I can imagine that it is not much of a difference and it doesn't matter too much either. But in the Wohltemperiertes Klavier, Czerny indicates clearly that the tempo of those pieces, many of those are taken, or actually are a representation of the way he heard Beethoven played Bach. So that quarter note 138 and all the inventions and symphonias are in the same range. They are incredibly fast. That's an important number. Those numbers are important. And not only the connection to Beethoven, they are important on itself. Czerny was a great musician, he was a great teacher, but even apart from that, the music has been played like that. It's either version 1 or version 2. There is nothing in between. So how to deal with that information? The only thing I can tell you is how I deal with it. And I can make several points. I don't want to make this video too long. But for me, this is very important information. And don't see this as I would take those metronome numbers and would try to play accordingly. I don't. It was very interesting to see that my performance was even slower than the metrical interpretation, which I believe makes the most sense here. But that doesn't matter. There is a big trap that is easily to fall in for us musicians, certainly in this so-called hip movement, that is to start connecting that research to your performances. So the Czerny numbers, I take them very seriously. As I said, it's either version 1 or version 2. And it's only the speed indication. We don't know anything about his way of accentuation, his way of interpreting within a certain speed. So it's only the tempo indication, which is one element, one brick stone in the building of your performance. But I try to keep that kind of information separate from my performance. There is a room in my head, so to say, my memory, filled with all kind of boxes that I try to combine sometimes to get new information, because that's called the context. That's three-dimensional. You make a three-dimensional reality out of a two-dimensional information, which this is in fact. It's nothing. It's just very flat information. So combining all those boxes gives new insight and new input and can be of very big inspiration on my playing. I believe that your performance can change and will change over time just by giving input of that information, but only if you can leave that information as factual on its own as possible, not to try to mix it with your own taste and own performance too soon. At the end, the third phase is your performance, and that's the unique thing about being a musician. So I hope that this video just made an awareness that there is a difference between research, thinking about that, and then at the end making your own decisions. And that's the great thing about being a musician. That's the great thing that we don't have the recordings of those people, because it's so interesting to think about how it could have been. So to close this video, I have some more footage about comparisons with metronome numbers by Czerny and Bach on the inventions. I will post that on my Patreon site. If you're not familiar with Patreon, that's a website where you can support the projects we are doing for even a few dollars a month. I'll put a link, there's a link in the description box. Check it out, and I'm going to upgrade my interaction with the patrons, which is actually now already a great thing. Also on the mailing list, there's a link below. I'll post in the coming months more regularly some articles that are a little bit connected with the content I bring in this vlog, so to say, and you get a 350-page ebook for free if you sign up for that. If you're new to Authentic Sound, to this channel, I'd love to have you subscribed. Asking that while I'll try to avoid the mud here, because it has been raining last days. And then we see each other regularly again. Thanks for watching, thanks for sharing this video, and see you guys soon again. Bye.
Thank you.